All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone is having a great morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Just want to make sure we switch screens over here from Peter to mine. Peter, if you could kill your screen. So good morning, everyone. All right, so let's get started here. Let's look at our gappers list today, see what we have going on. Not much at the moment, but we got some good movers here. As I can see Roku already on here, up 3.3. And I can see some other ones, TS, Loma, and GGAL. So we'll get into those. Wow, these are down quite a bit, 35, 28. So that's interesting. Good morning, Peter. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, Carlos. How you feeling?
Feeling okay. Not much sleep, but I'm okay. I'm okay.
All right.
All right, so let's get to it, guys. Let's start over with our gappers list. Then, as usual, guys, if you're joining us for the first time, we go over the gappers list. Then we go over into some news, see what's going on with the SPY, and then we'll go over into some announcements, and then we'll finalize our list, find support and resistance for the stocks we have in play this morning. So let's get started with Roku right on here. So ROKU, one of the ones that have been very strong in the last couple of days. I mean, just look at this here. Every time you think it's going to pull back, it's just find some kind of support. This thing has been on a very nice run the last couple of days, especially. You can see Thursday, Friday, some good days ending green here. And today we are up quite a bit. We're up so far 3%, 259,000 shares traded at the moment. And if we look at our pre-market activity, not so bad. This looks okay. So I expect this to get a lot better as the morning develops, but this looks all right at the moment. So Roku is definitely one to watch today. If you were CMEG, you do have shares for short, so that's great to see. We usually don't have this stock available for short, but we do today. So hopefully that stays like that as we get into the open. Next, we have TS. So let's take a look at TS here. TS down 3.6. 198,000 shares traded. This one is what kind of stock is this? Hold on a second. It looks a little weird here. It looks like it's a. Let's just scroll over here. All right, so it's not your common stock. It's a depository, I think it is here. So not sure about this. I could tell by the daily chart too. And also, if you look at the pre-market activity, this is not a great pre-market activity. So not one is probably going to make our list. Next, we have LOMA. So Loma here is down 28.2. So this one 100,000 shares traded so far. Looks like some block trade, guys. Block trade. So if you have not seen what a block trade looks like, this is one right here. You can clearly see you have two trades here. One here sitting at around 44, and then another one sitting around 44, which is making up this 100,000 here. So not sure what the news is on this one, Peter. Have you seen anything? This is down quite a bit, even though with these two block trades.
Yeah, so Loma and GGAL, which is the next one on your list, and I've got a couple of others as well. They're all Argentinian stocks. They're down today as the Argentinian market is facing a big rundown. They had some preliminary elections, and it looks like that there might be a change in leadership in Argentina, which has been having issues as of late. So Alberto Fernandez looks like he's taking the primaries against the incumbent president. So that seems to have the market a little skittish, as well as a bunch of other global stuff that's happening.
All right, that sounds interesting. You can see the daily chart is not as great. Not your usual foreign stock, right? Usually you see these gaps all over the place. This one doesn't seem to have as many gaps in between here on their daily, but still not the greatest daily chart. So that explains what's going on in this with this stock. So not great at the moment. Probably not going to keep this one again. Just nothing that looks exciting here to trade. GGAL. So you mentioned it's almost the same situation as well, and you can see we have the same type of play here on this stock. This one does look a little better than LOMA though. You can see here it has a little better pre-market activity. It's got some order flow going on here. Better daily chart, not great, but definitely better. And you can see here we have a little more volume, 217,000 shares traded so far. So probably going to keep this one out of both of these, depending on what else we can find out of our Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers, and also see how stuff goes on later on in the morning. Maybe we can get some more out of our gappers list, and then we'll also check what you guys have and see if we could find something out of there. So let's go over to our Nasdaq active, guys. Over here we have RKDA. This one was very active on Friday, and it actually traded very nice. I was biased to trade this. This is a low flow stock, so I was not inclined to have this on my list. I took it off. It's only 4 million shares float, but as you can see here, on Friday it traded very well, opened up nicely, and then just took off. Had a real nice trade in the intraday. Just want to give you guys a look at how this traded on Friday. I know a lot of you guys were watching this. So at the open, had a great pre-market activity, guys. It's a beautiful pre-market activity here, and then you can see here at the open sells off and then just took off here, got halted, and then just kind of slowly just grind higher. So again, for a low flow stock, traded very well here in this area. So today we're up again another 34.6. Peter, what's causing this this movement on this stock today? Is some serious fundamental news we got going on?
Yeah, more good news for Arcadia. So they have received FDA approval for some drought-resistant soybeans that they're developing. It's amongst a number of products. Whether this is directly because of the soybeans or because they've also announced that they're working on drought-resistant cannabis, who knows? But either way, they just received FDA approval, and it seems to be giving their stock yet another bump.
That sounds very interesting. Drug-resistant cannabis. I'm looking forward to it. Let's see what happens out of that. It sounds very interesting. So this one, guys, definitely in play. Look at the volume. 1.5 million shares traded so far, up 34%. Continuation of Friday's trading. So definitely you want to watch this morning if you are in the looking for low flows, right? If you want to trade low flow stock, if that's your style, this is definitely one you want to watch today. So next, we have the TVIX volatility index here. Not much going on at the moment. Pretty flat, up a bit. NAKD penny stock. We don't look at that. AMD, our buddy here, has some good volume so far. 611,000 shares traded. You can see pre-market activity not looking as great as it did on Friday. Friday had an amazing pre-market activity, but this one has been very fun to trade. It's been trading very well. Again, that first 30 minutes to an hour can be very choppy, but then once it settles in, you can see how nice it has been trading if you look at the intraday from Thursday and Friday. So today's is pretty much flat, but this is definitely one that we want to take a look at. Next, we have YRIV, also penny stock, Nasdaq ETF. We'll skip that one. TMCX. Not much going on here, just a couple of block trades, which is costing this 550 on the volume here, so not much happening there. Another Nasdaq ETF, and then Roku down here, which we have already. Let's head over to our Nasdaq gainers. We have AESE. At the moment, not doing much, no volume. Looks like a recent IPO. Only have 1 day here, so what is this? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like a recent IPO. Then we have RKDA, which we have on our list already. We have CNET, which we also have traded in the past, but not much going on right now, guys. Look at this pre-market activity, no volume. It is up 20% at the moment, but again, just not really tradable. FBIO at the moment, no volume, only 6,000 shares traded. YTNE, more of a penny stock. It's been trading under a buck for the last couple of weeks down here between May and August. Again, just nothing really exciting going on there. Next, we have, let's head down, APTX. Also another one that's been trading, seems to be just slightly under a buck. Oh, actually, no, $3. So more on the penny side, but again, not really a great pre-market activity. Next, we have CLWT. Nothing much going on there. No volume. NVAX, same situation. VIOC, same. And then VRAY, same situation, guys. Just no volume here at only 15,000 shares traded. So this is what we have so far at the moment. Peter, what do you like on your list? Anything that we have not covered?
No, I mean, I definitely like Roku. I know you mentioned it, but they had earnings, if we recall, on Friday, which was giving them a bump. And they have more good news today, as buried in their earnings report. They just made a 2-line mention of the fact that they've got a deal with Walmart. So I think that's what's driving the increase this morning, because that allows them to reach a new and broader audience with Walmart's obviously reach across the U.S. So that's prime on my list. AMD, I think it's going to move. It may be choppy at the open, but we may get some good moves a little bit later. And I think it's just going to be a scanner day.
Yeah, yep. I agree, guys. Nothing much too exciting right now, but it is a Monday. It tends to pick up a little slower than usual as people get going. Hopefully, by the time we get closer to 9:15, 9:30ish, we can get more out of this today. But you're right, scanners. It could be a scanner day today. Guys, what do you guys have on your
Yeah.
list?
Maybe if I could just mention
Yep.
global markets, Carlos. We can see that the SPY is down a little bit, and global futures are down. There's a lot of I'll call it political uncertainty going on in the world. We talked about Argentina briefly. Obviously, there's the trade tensions between China and the U.S., which is causing continuing concerns. And in the news this weekend, China is mobilizing the army to invade Hong Kong as protesters took over the main airport in Hong Kong. So that's also got some jitteriness in the market. So I think caution is probably the key word this morning. Because any one of these news items could spark up during the trading day and could just drive stocks in an unexpected direction. So be very cautious in what you're doing today. Nothing could happen, or we could get something that blows up, and I'm myself going to be very careful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great insight there. So Herman, the TVIX, TVIX, right? I'm just gonna bring it up here so you can see something how this stock actually works. I don't usually trade it, TVIX, but it's more of a scalping type stock. So what happens is, for those that don't know, the TVIX is a volatility index, and it basically does the opposite of what the SPY does, right? So if the SPY starts, the whole market starts heading up. Then this would drop, right? So if you can see here, this is a daily chart on the TVIX. Let's look at the daily chart on the SPY here just to compare it. You can see over on these days where we had some big drops, you can see where you had these pops, right? So if you look at this chart, you can almost invert it, basically the opposite, right? So very hard to trade, guys. You got to be very careful. This thing is how many times is it, Peter? I think you mentioned it before in the chat room. Is it 3 or 6?
Well, let me just check here. It seems to be 2 times. I thought it used to be 3, but it seems to be 2 times accelerated.
Right, so it's 2 times leverage, guys. You got to be very, very careful. This thing can really move on you, and you can only take it really long, right? It's only to play on the long side. So again, strategies on this type of thing does not work, right? You do not try to look for ABCD pattern on here. It's really more for a scalping strategy, right? Getting in when something's dropping or some big news, you can get in, get out immediately. Again, you don't want to be holding this looking for an ABCD pattern or anything like that. All right, so let's go over to what we have here. AMGN is one that you guys mentioned, so let's take a look at that. AMGN. All right, so at the moment, it's got an interesting daily chart. It has a nice pop here, kind of consolidated, another pop on Friday. But right now, the pre-market activity is not looking great, guys. Really no volume at the moment, only 3,500. And again, just no activity since this pre-market right here is pretty dead. Next, we have BABA. So BABA has a nice, interesting daily chart here. A good pre-market activity actually for BABA also, because it doesn't trade very well in the pre-market. But this is actually pretty good with some decent volume. Actually, BABA is looking very interesting, heading back down here. This is worth having on our list. So BABA is definitely good this morning. GE. Issue with GE doesn't move much. Last time I said that, it dropped 40 cents on the day, and that was a lot for that type of stock. So had a big day here, has several big days, but normally it doesn't trade very well. It has great volume. You can see at the open, this is heavily traded by institutions. But again, it just doesn't move a lot, and you got to take a lot of shares to get a good move. Last time I traded GE, I think I took 3,000 shares and only made like $150, right? Kind of tells you how much this moves. So I don't like taking that many shares, and so you got to find where your niche is. Some people don't like to take 3,000 shares on a stock. I'm comfortable between that 300, 700 number of shares. So again, this one doesn't move much, but the daily does look interesting. Look at this drop over the last a week or two. I mean, this is definitely interesting. Daily charts losing some support here. You know what? Yeah, this could be a day to watch GE, because this is very interesting right now, the way this is gapping down a bit here. So we'll keep it on here, but might not be one that makes the final list depending how things go. All right, what else you guys have? We have CLDR. All right, CL. So CLDR here is gapping up a bit, 2.1. I can see the daily looks interesting, though not as clean. I don't like how some of these days are just kind of moving sideways here, but you have a nice pop, sold off, and then right back up here. So it looks interesting. Like, it might want to test this high again one more time. We can come back to it. Pre-market activity, though, although it has this much volume, 227,000, the pre-market activity is not looking all that great on CLDR, but we'll definitely can take a look at it and look at it in more details, find levels for it, and then decide if we want to keep it or not, depending on what looks best. We have over here BMA, so let's look at that. All right, so BMA this morning, just barely under 100,000, guys, only 80,000 shares traded. It is down quite a bit though, 36%. Daily chart looks interesting. What is this stock here? Yeah, this looks interesting, guys, but I'm not sure about it. Pre-market looks decent. Needs more volume though. It is dropping quite a bit, 34%. Peter, do we have any news on this one? BMA?
That's a good question. Let me check quickly. I don't have any news on it myself. This is another Argentinian bank, so
Okay.
same news.
Okay, so then we have LOMA, we have GGAL, and then we have this one also dropping a bit. So these big droppers are for this Argentinian news that's kicking out. All right. So out of that, we'll just pick the best one, guys, and we'll just watch one, just see what happens. And then we'll look for our scanner, see if anything comes up there that we should be tuning into. All right, so we have SYY. SYY at the moment, not really a lot of volume, guys. Only 22,000 shares traded. It is up a bit. Daily chart looks all right, but again, just not a lot of activity this morning to put on our main watch list. Could be a good one for a secondary list. As you can see, is reaching some daily support levels here. I'm assuming this one, Sociedad, that's a Spanish word, it means society. I'm assuming this is another Argentinian bank as well.
No,
it's not.
SYY is a food company, Cisco.
Oh, gotcha. Looking at, so no, I'm looking at SYY doesn't look great. I'm looking at YPF now.
Oh, YPF. Sorry, I'm gonna keep up here.
No worries, man.
This is Argentinian. This time it's an oil and gas company.
Okay. So again, another one here, another Argentinian stock ticker that's dropping quite a bit. This one is down 27.6. So, might be an Argentinian stock day today to trade. We have TSG. So TSG next on the list. Let's see what we got going on here. TSG. So this one, daily chart doesn't look great, guys. I don't like the way this is setting up here on the daily. And the pre-market activity is not looking great neither. Look at how this pre-market is setting up. So again, if you've seen class 2, if you have not seen class 2, definitely check it out. We compare a lot of stocks that have a good pre-market activity and a bad one. This is one that has a really bad pre-market activity with no volume. So daily chart is so-so. It seems to be wrapping around these moving averages here and somewhat holding this level for some time. Lost it about 2 weeks ago. It's coming right back to it. Could be a good area of resistance, and a lot could happen there. Got some moving averages. So the daily looks interesting, but the pre-market activity not great today. Next we have RAD. So we did look at CLDR. Next we have RAD. RAD, it looks like we had some levels in the past, so we looked at it before, but guys, just pay attention to that volume. Really no good volume on RAD this morning. Only 6,000 shares traded. OSTK is one that you got to be very careful with. We had it in our watch list before over the last couple of days. I know we had it here. We had it on Friday as well. At least hit our scanners on Friday. And we had it several days throughout this run that it's been doing. It's been doing a beautiful run here, just kind of nicely following this moving average. Just look how great that moving average on the 9 on the daily has been support. Comes down to test the 20 a few times, and you're getting some good pops from the 20. So today is it's got no volume, only 42,000 shares traded, but I expect this one to be active. It usually is, but if you do watch this, be very careful. This stock moves almost like a low flow. It can move $1, $1.50 pretty fast. Actually, if we look at just real quick at the ATR, the ATR is 190 for a stock that is 25 bucks, sometimes up to 15 bucks, for 18 bucks. That's a lot, so be very careful there. Let's look at I'll have Baba 2 times. Yeah, I'll remove that. Yep, I see that. Thanks Vladimir, appreciate that. We'll remove Baba here so we don't look at it twice. Next we have VRAY. We'll do a few more and then we'll start we'll go over to some announcements and then find out, get this list a little smaller here. So VRAY at the moment, guys, just not a lot of volume. Had a big drop on Friday though. Look at this, gap down nicely here. And today's kind of trying to bounce back so we can get a good continuation day out of today out of VRAY, but not really much going on at the moment volume wise. So this could be a good one to watch in your scanner. So keep it on your secondary list if you want to watch this one. And see what you can get out of it. So just want to check what the flow is on this as well. It's a low flow or 84 million shares flow. So this is something you could definitely trade. All right, so let's look at some of the ones that we I see Wayne is giving us some good ones here. So MU, some of our buddies. MU's not doing much right now. Pre-market activity a little bit flat. It's gonna go over 100,000 in a few minutes here. So it will be hitting our scanners if it can get below 2%. I like the way MU though is at a level of previous resistance, and it's been holding that here, right? The last couple of days, you can see here Friday tested that, and also Tuesday tested that level, and it bounced back. So it'll be interesting if it can lose this 41-ish level. It could be interesting if it can head down towards this moving average. So I like the way the daily is setting up. You know, definitely worth taking a look at it. Definitely worth having it here, at least finding some levels for it and seeing if this hits our scanners. Also, depending how the market does, right? If the market starts dropping, AMD and MU are some good ones to have on your watch list for a possible good trade. We're going to look at JD. So JD also dropping a bit here. JD can tend to be very choppy sometimes. You got to be careful with it. If it's really not in play, it can really chop you up. And then BAC. So BAC is almost doing the same thing, not much right now, pretty flat. The issue with BAC, if it's not really in play like it was on this day here, obviously the whole market was dropping during these 3 days here. It doesn't move a whole lot. And in those moves, in those intraday moves, it can also be just very choppy. It could take a long time to get going. Again, it could be tradable. But that's one of the things about BAC. I'd rather watch like an AMD or MU. So I'm just going to give you a couple of cents in a faster period of time. All right, guys. So we got quite a bit. So let's do this. Let's go over to some announcements. We'll go through this list, try to remove some of these that don't look great, and then we can look at some more that you guys have on your list or are sending over on the chats. So Peter, what do we have for announcements today?
Yeah, well, so we got a couple announcements this morning. Just want to remind everybody that the Trade Ideas is continuing with their trial deal for just $8.99. You can get Trade Ideas. So if that's of interest to you, it goes through this Wednesday. So only a couple more days to take advantage of that. But as you know, we use Trade Ideas here in the room, not only for our Gappers watch list, but for our scanners throughout the day. In Bear Bull Traders news, we are proud to have been nominated for the Best Financial Literacy Tool by Benzinga, which is a partner of ours. Those FinTech Awards are happening. Actually, I don't know when the final is, but you can vote if you're so inclined for anyone you choose. And if you wanted to vote for us, we'd be honored to have your vote. So there's a link up above. Take a look at that link, and you can vote every single day. That would be great. We are going to be having a meetup in Zurich with Andrew on the 18th. So for anybody in the room who happens to be in Zurich, or frankly, if you really want to go to Zurich, here's your chance. In our forums, we've got the information about the meetup. So just go into the forum. You can get all the details of exactly the time and the location as it's being set up. That should be fun. I always like when Andrew does the international ones because it's always amazing to me. You know, people that are trading, especially for all of you troopers out there that are trading at crazy hours of the day and night. You know, it's good sometimes to put a face to the voices, and it's rare that you get an opportunity. So if you're in or around that area, join Andrew in Zurich. Yeah. He'll have lots of tales, of course, of how he scaled the Matterhorn and probably ate his Toblerone bar. So it should be fun. And that's it for announcements this morning.
All right, excellent. As you can see here, this actually Andrew's getting ready to trade this morning. This is his mobile setup. So you can see a nice view there. Some houses looks like. So definitely follow us on Twitter, guys, at bearbootraders.com. You can see some of these views here look amazing. So, oh, there he is. There's snow up there. Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys, so let's get into it. So let's go over this list. We got quite a bit here, but not a lot looks great. So let's chop this up and keep what looks a little bit interesting. So definitely Roku's going to be on my watch list. Roku has been very strong, guys. Are we getting to the all-time high again? Yes. So again, another all-time high for Roku this morning at 128.75 is the high of the pre-market. So I'm going to remove these levels. Let's do the all-time high over here, guys, at 129.50. Below that, we have plenty of great levels. You have your previous day close. You also have your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days all in this area, so you don't really need to add anymore. And then since towards the top, we don't have any more levels. You want to look out for the whole dollars, right? 130, 131, 130 is 50, right? So be on the lookout for those numbers. But again, not really any more levels up here since it's an all-time high. And then towards the bottom, I don't think you really need to add any more, because with these levels 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot to go to try to get to this moving average or the last time we've been up here, right? So don't really have to add any more levels. Keep your charts very clean. Don't complicate things. That's one of the things about trading. Sometimes people complicate things and have way too many levels that create more confusion than clarity. So Roku looks great, guys. Has a good pre-market activity, up 2.9 and some good volume building up. So looking forward to see if you can crack that 129.50 at the moment. TS, guys, so this we have several Argentinian stock. This is one of them. No, this is not one of them. This is one that's just it looks like a foreign stock. Peter, can you check this one, see what kind of stock this is? It looks foreign. It has some gap between the days.
Yeah, it is a foreign stock. This is a company, Tenaris, that's based out of Luxembourg, but it's metal fabrication. So but it's obviously trading like a foreign stock.
Yeah, it's trading pretty horrible, guys. And also look at the pre-market activity, not great. Look at these flat lines, no candles, no activity, no flow, right? We want to see that nice flow in the pre-market activity. So we'll remove this one. And then we have a couple of Argentinian stocks, starting with LOMA, GGAL, and then what's the other one down here that we looked at? AMGN? No, that was not it.
There's a YPF.
Yeah, and also BMA. So out of all of these, I'm going to probably just watch 2. I'm not going to watch all of them because I'm expecting them to move in the same manner. So if we look at over at LOMA, this one doesn't have a great pre-market activity, so I'm going to remove this one. It's also a lower price, $7, so be careful with that. GGAL seems to have the best pre-market activity out of the ones that are on this situation with Argentina, right? So this is one that looks great. Has not great, but it looks better than all of them, so I might keep that one. Has the most volume, down 42%, and also a nice price range, just $21. Now check this out, guys. You got to be very, very careful. Don't be fooled, right? This is $21, and the top of this candle is 22. This candle is 23. The bottom is 22. That's $1, right? So you want to be extremely careful this morning if you're going to trade these stocks. So I'm going to keep this one for now. Let's get some levels on it. So towards the and also keep in mind, guys, this is a foreign stock, so it can trade very weird, and our strategies sometimes don't work the best on foreign stocks, so be very careful with that. So you have several levels here: 1874, 20, 80, and then the low of the pre-market is sitting right now at 2163. The more I do these levels, the more scary this stock looks. Actually, I might not keep it on here. 2062, low of the pre-market. Then towards the top, you got several areas of support where you can see some wicks bouncing off, right? So you have Rhino over here, a few over here as well. You can see the support on that 23.44, and then above that you can see also you have a nice area here of support and resistance as well, 25.17. So right over here you can see the support. You can see some resistance all in this area here of this level. If you draw a line right through it, you can see what you have just bouncing off between that 23.44 and that 25.17. So again, I'm going to keep this one out of all of them. Seems to have the best pre-market activity. AMD I'm going to have as well. AMD looks like it's getting red to green now, right? So it was red here below the previous day close. Now it's going to green. And we have some nice areas of support and resistance. High of the pre-market sitting at 34.80. So I'm going to mark that down. Also look at 34.80. Look how much resistance that has been for AMD in the past. So you got several peaks here, 1, 2. Finally broke out of that, hit about, what's this, 35.50ish or so. So that's the next level towards the top. Towards the bottom, low of the pre-market is sitting right at 33.79. So I'm going to mark that down. Then you have the low from the last trading day. And also you got some moving averages down here as well. But I do like this level right here, 32.28. Does not look like it wants to head down here to test this level. Looks like it wants to be strong this morning. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on AMD today. BABA, I don't usually trade, guys. It usually tends to be a higher price stock that trades a little funky, but I gotta say this daily chart today looks good. So I'm gonna remove some of these levels. Let's get some fresh ones. The low of the pre-market is sitting around 156.70, so I'm gonna mark that down. Let's see if it can hold that or if it's going to break. Looks like it wants to break it. And then below that we have another day over here around 155.38, and then one all the way down here at 151. 95. Just gonna go back real quick. I want to see if there's anything between that 156 71 and that 151.95, because it'll be nice to have something in between there. That's a very big drop for it to head all the way down. But see here, I'm not seeing anything that's extremely clean, so I'm just gonna put this one here, guys. 153.31. I'll tell you why. You have this day that's bouncing from there, and then you have this day that's also using it as resistance. So again, not the greatest level, but that's just a big drop. I want to have something where I can calculate my risk to reward, or if we get some kind of drop, there could be a loss of momentum around that 153.31. And also check this out. You can see this date here dips down all the way to 151.95 and comes right back around that same area at 153.31. So I do like that as well. All right, so let's look at CLDR. CLDR, not the cleanest pre-market action, guys. It has some volume. It looks interesting on the daily, like it wants to pop. We're gonna put some levels on here, but it might not be one that I keep for my final main watch list. So I have the pre-market 722. Above that, this day is very close, but I'm gonna mark it down anyway. You got a 726, actually might be a better level. 727. You got this day here, which is the next resistance above that. And then towards the top, wow, we have a huge gap there, like around $9. Yes, I don't think we'll get there, but this is a huge gap, 855. You have a moving average around 821, so I'm going to mark that down as well. Just want to see if there's anything in between there going back on this stock. Let's look at the weekly, get a better sense of what we got going on here. So we had this big drop here that created that gap, and I do not see any other levels around this area. Yes, that's the best we have on CLDR, guys. Then towards the bottom, going back towards the daily here, you got plenty of levels towards the bottom. Don't really need to add anymore. If we can get through this 727, you have some playroom up here. Try to be able to close that gap. But again, be on the lookout for 740, 760. These whole dollar marks are going to be important. Towards the bottom, previous day close, you have the lows and highs from the last 2 trading days. Don't really need to add anymore on CLDR. AMGN, no activity here, guys. I'm just going to remove this one. Not sure why I kept this one here, but this has no action going on at the moment. GE's got some volume as usual. Every pre-market it does. Not moving a whole lot, guys, and this one doesn't move very well. The daily chart does look interesting here as we lose this support from the previous day close that we had a couple of times here. As you can see here, support as well as resistance right in this area back in April. But again, it's just one of those stocks doesn't move very well. So love the pre-market 899. Above that, you have the previous day close, and you have several highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You have a 200 moving average also coming in as well. But I'm going to remove this one, guys. I'm not interested in watching GE this morning. BMA is another Argentinian stock, and actually this one I do have shares for short. So I might keep this one. Between this one and GGAL, I'll decide which I'm going to keep. But I'm not going to watch too many of these because, again, these are foreign stock, guys, and they don't trade very well. So low of the pre-market, 45.23, 45.29 to be exact. Below that, you have 42.74, and you have 39.87. If you go here and you look at May, you can see several areas of support and resistance around those levels. And then towards the top, you have a nice level here, very clean, 49.13. I'm just going to draw a blue line on here so you can see what that looks like. Look at that 49.13, guys, how it was resistance, resistance, resistance. Finally broke out of that. You can see the nice pop once it was able to stay above that 49.13. RADA, this one we looked at, but doesn't look great. Just going to remove it here. Next, we have MU. MU looks interesting. I love this, the where the price is at now. Pre-market activity does not look great, guys, but as you know, this is typical for MU. Doesn't really have a good pre-market activity, but you know it's going to get the volume. So towards the bottom, you have a moving average right around 39. You could put that at 40. So right at 40, you have a nice moving average. And also look at that moving average, how you have several days confirming that as a support. And then below that, you have this nice support here at 38.95. Towards the top, guys, you got plenty. Previous day close, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, and also some moving averages curling down here as well. So I don't really need to add any more on MU, but I do like the way it is right at this support. If it can lose that, we can get some possible action out of that today. For the low flow team, RKDA, let's remove some of these levels. This one, again, was very nice on Friday. Actually traded very well after the open. It dropped and then just shot up. 643 high of the pre-market. Towards the top, look at that 653 high was resistance right on here back in June. So going back into this area, which again, this daily chart, guys, is pretty nasty. So you have an area of 785 above your one at 852, and all the way up here at 1035. Anything is possible. But again, with these low flow stock, guys, as important as the levels are, you need to again keep in mind that if you are trading this, you got to be in and out quick, guys. And this is, as I mentioned before, this is one of those stocks where you don't want to play around with your stop loss. If it's time to jump out, you jump out immediately. And if you're struggling with your stop losses and getting out of a trade, then definitely do not trade low flow stocks. Okay. Another level towards the bottom, 575. You can see some areas here, so support and resistance. So this is the low flow of the day for sure today. 2 million shares traded right now, again up 35.3. So this should be exciting at the open. All right, guys. So that is what we have. Peter, anything that I missed that we want to look into?
Two that people are mentioning here in the room and on YouTube. One is Fitch, FTCH. Remember, it was in play last week.
Yes.
It looks like it's making a little bit of a recovery, but it doesn't look great. But it's moving. The other one is gold. So Barrick Gold, GOLD.
Yeah.
Take
so
a look at it. Again, doesn't look great, but.
And then you said gold, right? So let's look at, so FTCH. Yeah, I agree with you. Doesn't look great right now. You could have a continuation play today, but right now the volume is okay, but the pre-market activity not all that great. So it could be a nice one to watch in our scanners, but again, I just don't see a lot going on right now. And then gold's one of those stocks that again, I don't know if you could really trade patterns on it. I know people swing trade it. I don't usually trade gold. It's one of those stocks that, again, it just depends how the market is, right? And how news is coming out and all that. So not really one that I watch, and not really one that I try to catch like an ABCD pattern out of that, right? It's like the TVIX, right? You don't try to catch an ABCD pattern out of it. It's more of either a scalp, and this is more of, for me personally, more of a swing trade type stock. So I'm not gonna have this one on my list today, but it looks like it is breaking up nicely here, right? It's been on a beautiful run. Should have bought gold at around 12. That would have been nice. All right, guys. So let's look at what we have. Let's go through it one more time and see what we can pick off here. Also, I'm just gonna check my gappers list, make sure nothing else is new coming up here. Nope, nothing else new on the gappers list. So here we have. So we have Roku. Roku looks great, guys. Looks like it wants to make a new all-time high and also a new pre-market high. So this is looking good. Definitely going to have this on my list. GGAL. This is one of the Argentinian stocks. One that looks like it has the best volume and the best pre-market activity. But again, guys, the ATR is very, very high on this stock. It is a foreign stock, so you got to be very careful on this one. You were saying, Peter?
No, sorry, just banging things around.
Oh, that's okay. It's okay to bang things around in the morning. AMD is still looking very strong. Pre-market action going red to green, as you can see here, and holding it, right? Didn't bounce back down. So this one is exciting. Let's see if we can get back towards that pre-market high of 34.80. So that's going to be on my list as well. It's got some good volume. 1 million shares traded right now. BABA continues to play around with this 156 level, low of the pre-market, 156.70. So again, I do like the daily chart. Not one of my favorite stocks. I think it trades a little funky if it's not in play. So I might keep it. I might drop it off. How many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I might drop that one off. CLDR. Yeah, this one's going to go for me, guys. I just don't like the way the pre-market is setting up. Daily chart looks interesting if it can break out of this, but this pre-market action, I'm going to wait for this one to hit our scanners. We have our levels for it, but I'm not going to waste the bandwidth watching it at the open. BMA is also interesting. Another Argentinian stock. Doesn't have great volume right now, but it is down 40%. I'll put these two together and be aware that these are not my regular trading stocks. You want to be careful with these. And MU looks interesting on the daily, guys. Not a great pre-market action, but the daily does look great. If we can lose some of these levels, we do have some potential to get towards that 40 area where that moving average is. And then for the low flow team, RKDA continues to consolidate. Be careful with this one, guys. It did a great falling angel on Friday, right? So falling angel is that the stock drops down, finds support, and then comes right back up, right? So it pulled that off nicely on Friday. So be very careful in this stock today. You are getting another nice pop, 34%. So just be aware when you trade this low flow this morning. All right, guys. So that is all we have. Andrew's about to come on and get going here and build on his watch list. Thank you for joining us on YouTube, guys. Take care. Have a great trading day this Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern time.